Welcome back, and we're talking about business stuff today. I'm doing quite a few recordings. For those that have never done this before, which also includes me, by the way, um, although I'm a talker, and you'll get to know I love talking. Talk, you name it. Public settings, public speaking, business speaking, you name it. I do like to chat. It's not easy all the time as someone who's not recording. You have to kind of be up for it, right? So right now I'm kind of feeling it, right? As they say, I always say that when I get really pumped up and I feel good things in my life, I always equate it to like a church where they're like really feeling the spirit. Run up and down the aisles, speaking in tongues, doing whatever they do. I'm feeling it today, so I'm doing a couple good recordings. At least I hope good recordings. This episode is going to be my Pizza Hut promotion episode. I spoke about Pizza Hut in the previous episode, talking about work ethic, and I was working at the Pizza Hut, and keep in mind this is 80s and 90s, and I was the dough guy, and I certainly worked the cutting table and also made pizzas, but I was an everyday just employee. I wasn't a supervisor or anything like that. And I had an opportunity to become I think it was called like a kitchen lead or something like that. It wasn't anything supervisory or management. It was, I think I got like a gold name badge. It was still plastic, by the way, but it was gold and shiny. And I think, I kid you not, I think it was a 10-cent raise. At the time, I was making $4.10 an hour, and I think I was going to get a raise to about $4.20, and that is $4.20, by the way. And it was me and another guy. And I remember, and I worked hard. I mean, I really did work hard. I talked about that in a previous episode. Rode my bike every day, 12 miles both ways. I'm not making that up. It sounds very much like the uphill both ways to school story, but I really did. And I worked my butt off, to start my life, to be able to have an apartment I own, have those things. And I was up for this promotion, and it was for a kitchen supervisor. And I never forget, there was a guy, Big Dave, that I knew. Big Dave was awesome. If you have anyone in your life that you feel is a confidant, someone you know you can go to, Big Dave was that guy for me at that point in my life. Man, I love him to death. And I remember we were hanging out in his pickup truck, just kind of chit chatting after work one day. And I said, man, I'm nervous. He said, what are you nervous about? I said, I got a promotion I'm up for at the Pizza Hut. And believe me, at the time, he thought this was like the biggest career move in my life. And he said, what do you got? What's that about? And I said, it's kitchen supervisor. I told him I get my little gold badge if I get it. I told him I get a raise. The raise probably would put me in a tax bracket that meant I lost money, but nonetheless, I was excited to get my extra 15 cents. And I said, you know what? I said, if it's God's will that I get that job, then hopefully I'll get that job. And true story, he said to me, he goes, where'd you hear that BS? And I was like, whoa, you can't say that about God's will. And I said, that's almost like insulting, and it's probably bad to say. And he said, listen, he said, it's not as if God's going to come down and have a cup of coffee with your supervisor and say, hey, Mike's been on my mind and it's my will that he gets that job. Because I think that's what we say when we say if it's God's will that this happens or God's will that happens. He said to me, he said, it's not God's will as in God makes that promotion happen. He said, God's will is because you incorporate God's will in your life, whatever God you choose, right? I mean, I'm not here to talk religion at all on the channel, but I am someone who believes in divine things, and I do try and live a spiritual life. And he said, you incorporate God's will in your life and how you work and the type of employee you are, and as a result, then you get the promotion, right? That's the God's will part. And I'll never forget that. I've been telling that story for decades. And let you know, I did get the promotion, and it was exciting. And I think that's the pinnacle of my career at Pizza Hut, was to be the kitchen lead guy. Nothing special, nothing more after that. I never became a manager, never became a supervisor. I think I only worked there about 2 years. But that's my Pizza Hut promotion story, and I tell it often. There's a lot of lessons that being learned in there: hard work, honesty, God's will, you name it. But that was my big Pizza Hut promotion story.